Hey, good afternoon. Russell of Hotels going live just for a couple minutes. You guys know how I do it. Today is Hump Day or Wednesday, like everyone else says it. So today's a daily check-in. Just checking in, making sure everybody's good. I'm good. You guys good? So no, I just want to. I do the daily check-in Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. When I do it on Wednesday, I'm like, I want to check to make sure you guys checked out on air with Russell of Hotels, which was on yesterday, right? So if you didn't check it out yesterday, you need to check it out on these same platforms. Well, not on the same ones, but at least on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook, because we had a very important guest on. Miss Debbie Vail was on here from Visit Pasadena. The show was fire. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. Can I say that? The show was fire. She was fire. A lot of good information about Pasadena, but not just about Pasadena. But what about Debbie? What about herself on how she is as a salesperson, how she is as a sales professional? All that stuff kind of came out. Well, some stuff kind of came out yesterday. So you need to check it out. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you go and check it out. So, in fact, let me just give a quick little shout out to Miss Debbie Vail. So yeah, so let me give her a little shout out. So shout out to Miss Debbie Vail with Visit Pasadena. Once again, she was a guest yesterday on air with Russell of Hotels. I want to say that was show number 356. So yeah, so thank you, Debbie. I do appreciate you coming on. I know you're busy and traveling here, traveling there, but I'm glad you took some time to finally come on to the show, right? So no, I no, I appreciate her coming on. So no, thank you, Debbie. Thank you. And of course, I give you shout out. So anyway, so we're live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram today. Okay. So in fact, I see some people over here on IG. I see Miss Cynthia Bowen, Cynthia Black Bowen. Hey, that's my cousin. Okay. So hey, Cynthia. Hey, cousin. How are you? And I see Miss Velvet Style Biz. That's Miss Tiffany. That's Miss Tiffany English. She comes on my show on Monday. So if you ever didn't have anything to do on Monday morning at 9 a.m. PST, you need to come on because we do this catch up, like ketchup, not ketchup as you put on French fries. We catch up. So I said that I didn't say it right. But yeah, we catch up on maybe the previous week or maybe previous couple weeks, because sometimes we travel and we catch up on that. Like, where did we stay? What did we like? How, what was our experience and all that? So last week, in fact, that's on, if you haven't checked that out, that's on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube as well. So you can check that out on the daily check-in. That was just past Monday. You can check that out as well. We always on Mondays do a recap of our week or our travel schedule or whatever the heck it was. So last week was good, or Monday was good, because she had been to the DR, Dominican Republic, and then I was in New York and Chicago, right? So we had a lot to talk about as far as maybe some service things, and maybe service was good, maybe the food was good, or maybe it was kind of suspect. We talk about that stuff, right? We share those things because I think that's important, right? Sometimes hotels and destinations, we put on our best efforts, but sometimes we fall a little short, and it's okay, right? As long as we learn from that, as long as we make it right. We always have these programs, hotels have these programs. Well, they'll make it right. Did they make it right? Sometimes they make it right, sometimes they don't, right? Well, we're here to talk about all of it, right? Because everything's not perfect, and everything is not, everything's not perfect, and everything's not bad, right? So there's that in between stuff. So it's okay. It's okay to talk a little bit about it. So yeah, so make sure you check out those shows as well. So you got 5 days a week of me, whether you want it or not. You got 5 days a week of Russell of Hotels. So every time I do one of these shows, I'll never do a show where I'm not showcasing or highlighting a hotel. And as a tribute to Miss Debbie Vail, I would kind of be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to maybe highlight one of the hotels in Pasadena, right? I mean, why wouldn't I do that, right? That's a perfect segue. We just had Miss Debbie Vail on the show, okay, yesterday. Okay, Visit Pasadena. She talked about all these different things to do in Pasadena. All the hotels they have, 25 hotels, I believe. Their meeting space or their convention center, I want to say, is 100 and what was it, 150,000 square feet of meeting space. Let me see. I do have that 130,000 square feet of meeting space. In fact, you know what? Hold on one second. Let me just give a kind of recap, okay? Just a little recap. Um, 25 hotels, 2,500 rooms, 130,000 square feet of meeting space at the convention center. That's right there in Pasadena. In fact, everything is kind of so walkable. It's kind of right there together. And then 600 restaurants. Who the heck knew that Pasadena had 600 restaurants? And per capita, it has more restaurants than New York City. That's per capita. Okay, we all know that New York has million people, over millions of people there. Pasadena does not, right? So based on those numbers, it has more restaurants per the people that they have in that location than New York does. I think that's crazy. And there's always, I mean, I'm always looking at new restaurants in Pasadena. Like, well, of course, the 600, I mean, they're probably all new, right? Other than the ones I've been to, right? But they have a good variety of restaurants that have those non-meat eats. And she made it a point to say that. She said non-meat eats. I didn't tell her to say that. She said non-meat eats. So there you go. So anyway, so shout out to once again to Miss Debbie Vail with Visit Pasadena. And then there's just some information about Pasadena as well, because that's what I do. I want to do, right? I want to show that information. So once again, I always showcase a hotel. So we're going to showcase a hotel in Pasadena, which is the Langham. And I was there not too long ago. So it's still kind of fresh in my memory, right? So I'm going to get to that in a minute, but I do see something, a comment somewhere. Let's see what this comment is. I see Mr. Coleman. Mr. Coleman, that's the Reverend Dr. Coleman Patton. Blessings. This is the first time he's actually made a comment on the show. We talk all the time. And he says, I saw you. This is how he says it. I saw you going live, Russell, but I never say anything. I say, come, why don't you just make a comment just so I know that you're there, right? Because you can just be saying anything, right? But I appreciate you coming on, and blessings to you. I appreciate you. Appreciate your friendship. And I listen to and I watch his Bible study, which comes on Tuesdays, right? It comes on right before my show. And when I have time, I will definitely go over and listen to the Bible study, because my mom used to listen to it and she'd always tell me, why don't you listen to his Bible study? Because I said, Mom, sometimes I'm busy, right? But no, I appreciate you, Coleman, and I do listen. I do learn some things. So shout out to Mr. Coleman Patton. So if you're interested in a Bible study, follow Coleman Patton on Facebook, okay? And then there you go. So there you go. So I thought I'd just throw that out there. I'm all about, elevating brands if I can, right? And Coleman Patton is definitely one of those brands, right? So there you go. In fact, Coleman, let me tell you a quick story. I met Coleman, God, it's probably close to 30 years ago. I worked for, in fact, I know the hotel I worked in. It was the Hilton in Woodland Hills, Warner Center. He was working on a project with Saban Entertainment. Remember Saban Entertainment, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers back in the day, right? Well, Coleman's company does auditing for companies like that. So they like what is it called? Licensed property auditing. So making sure that the commissions are right. Like when a company submits, like, okay, we paid X amount of commissions to this company, to the parent company or whatever, they go in and they audit it, right? So he was in town for that. And just so happened, I happened to be on the second floor, and at the front desk, you can look up, right? You can look up, and on the second floor, that's where the sales office was. And I happened to be looking down, and he was looking, and he happened to be looking up, right? Well, let me just say this, okay? There wasn't a lot of Black people that worked at the hotel, okay? And he's Black, okay? So we kind of gravitate toward each other every now and then, okay? I'm just being honest with you. I'm just being real, right? And he saw me, I saw him, and I don't know how I go downstairs or did he come up? I guess I must have went down and I introduced myself, and he, told me why he was there and blah, blah, blah. And we started this friendship. And like I said, this was probably 30 years ago. And we've been friends ever since. He lives in Atlanta, right? And every hotel that I used to work in here in LA, when he came to LA, he would follow me basically. What hotel you working in, Russell? I work at, I remember the Courtyard Marriott in Marina Del Rey, right? So he comes in and he stays at the hotel. And of course, all the time, we had breakfast the next day. And I asked him, I said, well, give me a, kind of run down the hotel for me. What was it nice, whatever. And he says, and he's a very astute traveler. Okay. He said, Russell, what is this hotel? Is it an airline way station? That's what he said. An airline way station. I said, what do you mean? He said, because I see and I hear flight attendants coming in and out all the time, like all day long. I said, yeah, I couldn't even get any sleep, Russell. That's how he talked. I couldn't get any sleep, Russell. It was just so many. I looked out the window and these gals going in and out and blah, blah, blah. And I said, yeah, it is funny how he picked up on them. He travels a lot, right? But yeah, that hotel, we had maybe at least two major airlines, and they would stay like 3 to 5 days right at a time, because it was Air France and Corsair, which was another French airline. Okay, Air France was the top of the line French airline, and then Corsair was like a Southwest Airlines or a Spirit airline of France, right? But yeah, so they were there all the time, and he picked that up. He said, Russell, I won't be staying here again. Bottom line, I'm not going to be staying at that hotel because there's just too much traffic going on. I couldn't get any sleep. I said, well, just tell me and I'll make sure I put you away from them. I said, I didn't know where they're going to put you. But he didn't. He had nothing to do with that. He said, I'm gone. I'm out of here. And that's probably the last hotel he stayed with me. So I had to tell that story, Coleman. So, but no, thank you so much. I do appreciate you coming on and give me an opportunity to tell that story. Okay. So anyway, once again, what was I saying? I'm showcasing or highlighting a hotel today, and it is the what is it? What is this hotel? Why don't I have the? Hold on one second. This is the Langham, and I don't have the thing. Hold on one second. Be patient with me. Be patient. See, that's what happens when I put the comment up there, and then I forget that once I put the comment up there, I have to find what was there before. And it was, see, there it is. Okay, all right, no big deal. No big deal, but I'm just letting you know what I'm doing, okay? So I'm just checking to make sure any other comments. That was a good comment. So thank you, Coleman. I appreciate that. And like I said, if I know you, I'm good. And I know a story, I'm going to tell you the story. In fact, here's another comment. Let me see what that is. Talk to you soon. Is that all you got to say? Is that all you have to say is talk to you soon? Okay. So this is what happens. So when you make comments, your comments come on the screen in real time, and he says, talk to you soon. So thank you. So thank you, Coleman. Appreciate that. We'll talk to you soon. Okay, so let me go back and find. And I got to go back and find the Langham Hotel again. I don't know, it's right there. Okay, so this is the Langham Hotel, 379 guest rooms, 53,000 square feet of meeting space. Very nice hotel. Just completed their renovation. Their rooms are impeccable. Can I say that? Is that a good word? Impeccable. This is the front desk. Okay, so this is the front desk and lobby area. If you walk out that just straight ahead, the front desk is to your left. If you walk straight ahead, it goes out into this beautiful garden area with a pond and everything. Just a beautiful place. In fact, I was able to do a live from there. And then I mentioned that I was doing my office of the day, or I was officing out of there. And their Wi-Fi, I mean, it connects instantly. So the Wi-Fi is on point. That's probably the strongest Wi-Fi I can remember at any hotel. Okay. I mean, it connected before I wanted it to connect. I mean, I'm like, damn, this is something else. Yeah, and you just get in, especially in the garden area, it doesn't get any weaker. It's stronger out there in the garden area. So shout out to the Langham Hotel in Pasadena for having that strong Wi-Fi and allowing me to office out of there for the day, right? I was there for a site tour, but of course I stayed there a little longer and did some work, and didn't skip a beat. So that's always a good thing. So once again, that's the lobby area. Right here is the guest room that they showed me, and it's not a suite. No, I mean, you see the couch right there, and a table and a chair, and then the bed is on the other side. So you can see, if you look, you can see that the couch that I showed in the front first photo is right over there, right? So the room was kind of rectangle, if you will, but it had a lot of space, right? I mean, it just had a lot of space. And did I mention that they had just completed the renovation? And you could tell the hallways, they smell fresh, the rooms smell fresh, and their scent, I'm not sure what that scent is, but they need to bottle it and sell it, okay? Because it just had that just a pleasant aroma. Okay, is that a good word, aroma? Because if I said, oh, they had a pleasant smell doesn't have the same flair as aroma, right? So yeah, so it had that aroma, that new room, new hotel smell. Oh my God, it was so good. It was so good. So shout out to them for that. Whoever came up with that, bottle it and sell it. Let's see. This is one of their, I want to say this is a bar or lounge area, something like that. I can't remember. The high tea, maybe that's the room where they do high tea. I can't remember. But they have views of the garden or views of their, what they call the yard, the lawn, something like that. A huge lawn. I think I have a photo of that as well. Let's see. And this is one of their pools. They have two pools now. Now, I remember back in the day, I mean, I think I hadn't been there in like 20 years at least. Well, they had tennis courts where they took the tennis courts out and put a new pool in. This is not it. This is the original pool. But they did take the tennis courts out and put in another pool, which is just as beautiful as this one. Let's see. Do, 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 do. And I always got to take a picture. I don't know why I'm a fool for a beautiful chandelier, but I had to take this photo, and I mean that's just indicative of how elegant that the meeting space is, or this particular meeting space. Just that, the chandelier alone tells you that we're gonna be paying about $200 a plate for our dinner here. Okay, so that's what that tells you. Okay, so but I mean, very nice hotel, very nice. And this is the lawn area, right? So they call it the horseshoe lawn, I want to say, because it's shaped, part of it's shaped like a horseshoe or something. I can't remember. But can you just picture someone getting married there or an event out there? We got all these food stations, you got people walking around here and there. Oh my God. Can you picture that? Yeah, maybe a bouncer or something like that going on. I mean, adults will be out there bouncing, but you know what I mean, right? There's a lot of space to do a lot of things there. Um, and then, of course, I always have, well, not always, but most of the time, I will have a topic. So, based on yesterday, having Debbie Vail come on, and which was great, right? And I always talk about visibility, right? I don't know why I'm adjusting myself here, but maybe because my microphone is there. It makes my collar a little askew. But anyway, that's okay. We won't worry about that. But having Debbie on here was great, and it just makes me think about being visible, okay? Because being visible is a good thing. Be visible, be intentional, be consistent, be remembered, right? So I got just three things I'm going to talk about, and because I think these things are important, right? Because if I was invisible, you would not know who I am. Not saying that everybody knows who I am anyway, but at least three or four people know. Those three or four people that are watching right now, right? So at least those people know who I am, right? But they wouldn't know who I was if I was not being visible, if I was not being intentional about being visible, if I was not being consistent. Because remember, I do something 5 days a week. 5 days a week. I do 4 shows of the daily check-in, and I do 1 show of On Air with Russell of Hotels, which is that live hospitality talk show everyone's talking about. So that's 5 days a week, at least 5 days. Some days I'll even do something on a Saturday or a Sunday. But you can't be visible, you can't be intentional, you can't be consistent, and you can't be remembered if you're not. It starts with being visible, right? You have to be visible before you can be all those other things, right? So I just think it's important. And I'm glad Debbie came on and took advantage of that, because I've been asking her forever, right? And but sometimes, people have to do things in their own time, and some people get busy, right? And but I just have to bring that up because sometimes I've asked other people to be on the show, and they kind of like, eh, you know, some people don't think it's important to come on and talk about your brand, talk about you, and people think the brand is the who they work for. No, the brand is you. Because remember, if you're a salesperson, people will buy from you before they buy what you're representing, right? And I know Debbie understands that. It's just that she was just busy, right? She just couldn't come up with the time to do it. But all of a sudden she said, you know what? Boom, I'm gonna make it happen. And she did. Okay. So I understand people get busy. I understand that. But I always say this: if I was back on property, meaning I'm back at a hotel, I'm a director of sales and marketing again, the first thing I would do is be visible about it. I'll be visible. I will be intentional. I'll be consistent because I want to be remembered. Okay. Because being remembered at the end of those, be visible, intentional, consistent, and being remembered, there's going to come some business at some point, right? Because people are going to remember you, right? They're going to remember you like, oh, Russell represents that XYZ hotel. Okay. There you go. But that's how it starts, right? That's how it begins. We have to do it though. I mean, it can be like a full-time job sometime, but it's important that we do it. So be visible, be intentional, be consistent, be remembered is more than a tagline. It's a strategy. Okay. So I got 3 little points to make, and they're not going to take that long. So relax. I just have to get to it wherever it is. I had it all queued up too, but now I lost it. Where the heck is that stuff? Man, I tell you. Here we go. Is it? Here we go. Okay. So once again, we see it. I don't have to keep saying it. Number 1. And do I have to I can look at my phone to read this stuff, right? See? What am I doing here? I'm not even together here. Yes, I am. We got it. I have to read it from my phone here. Okay. So here are 3 things it means. At least this is what it means to me. Number 1, be visible. If people don't see you, they can't think of you. That sounds too easy, Russell. What are you saying? If people don't see you, they can't think of you. Show up where your audience is, whether that's LinkedIn, industry events, videos, podcasts, networking events, or community involvement. Visibility creates awareness, and awareness is the first step towards opportunity. Remember, I told you, if you do all those 4 things, opportunity will present itself, but you have to do it. And don't think it's one and done, right? Oh, I'm going to do it one time and I'm going to get all this damn business. No, I remember, everything I do is about my experiences. I remember my last hotel I worked in had this general manager who didn't get it. Let's just say that he didn't get it. He didn't get the whole, being visible thing. He didn't get the be consistent thing. He thought that you do things on social media one time and boom, you're gonna get all this business. I said that's not how it works. So I'm trying to explain these things to him, and he just didn't get it. Either he didn't get it or he didn't want to get it. Okay, but he's like, you're spending too much time on this. I'm like, it takes time, right? It does take time to do this, right? You have to be visible. You have to be intentional. You got to be consistent because you want to be remembered, right? He didn't get it. And I've told this story before, that was probably the main reason why I left there because of that. People don't get it. Some general managers do not get it. Okay. Some salespeople don't get it. That's why they refuse to get in front of a camera. Okay. And I get it. I mean, there's some anxiety that comes on there. Be nervous. We can be all this and that, whatever. Bottom line, it's called marketing yourself. It's called, reinforcing your brand. But you have to be consistent. You just have to do it, right? So anyway, so that was number 1. Be visible. Number 2, I think I see some comments here. Hold on 1 second. I see click for hotels. Aloha from Memphis. Okay. Glenn is with you. What's going on, Glenn? Glenn Hausman and And Craig Sullivan, how are you guys doing? They're in Memphis. What are they doing in Memphis? Probably something um, hotel related. I'm trying to think. What's in Memphis? Give me some background information here, Craig. I mean, help me out here. But shout out to Craig Sullivan and Glenn Hausman. Appreciate them tuning in. But yeah, I'm talking about being visible, being intentional, being consistent, and being remembered. I mean, those are four things that those two gentlemen do on a daily basis, right? There's no way people would know who Craig is or Glenn if they were not being visible, if they were not being intentional, being consistent, so they can be remembered. There's no way they would be the number one show if they weren't doing that. Okay. So, and we all just aspire to be where they are, but you have to start somewhere, right? You have to start somewhere. So, my shout out or my information is going to the hotel, sales community, hotel DMOs, right? CVBs, DMCs, right? People have to know who you are in order for them to buy you. Okay. And remember, it starts with you. Okay. I have to keep saying that because some people, they kind of forget about it. So, anyway, number two, be intentional and consistent. Don't post or network just to stay busy. Some people just, oh, let me just get this out of the way. Let me go to this networking event. No, you got to be intentional. You're going because someone's going to be there, and maybe you want to get business from them. And you have to be in front of people. You have to do that. You have to show up and let people know that you're there. Don't post or network just to stay busy. Have a purpose behind every conversation, every post, and every relationship you build. Then keep showing up. You can't just do it and just, like I said, once again, it's not a one and done situation, right? You have to continuously do it. Consistency builds trust, credibility, and familiarity over time, right? So it's over time. So me trying to build this credibility and being familiar, will they be familiar with me? That's something that my old general manager could not get a grasp on, right? It's being consistent. That leads to trust, right? You want people to trust you. The more times they see you, they're like, that guy is a reliable source. And he's telling some good stuff, that resonates with me. Okay. That Russell of Hotels, right? He does some stuff where he's talking about this. He's bringing people on that know this, what is it? I didn't even know what a CVB was. Or what is the purpose of a CVB? He had this young lady on named Debbie Vail, and she broke it down for us what a DMO is. Because the DMO is the new term, right? Destination Marketing Organization. CVB, Convention and Visitors Bureau, that's a term that we used back in the day. Okay. They still use it now. Don't get me wrong. They still use it now. But a lot of them are going towards the DMO. And she mentioned that, the names of, the their what am I trying to say? Their tourism boards or their DMOs or whatever. Like Visit Pasadena used to be Pasadena CVB. Well, they changed it to Visit Pasadena. And if you're in that world, you'll see a lot of those destinations have changed to visit or discover, or something like that, right? Discover Blythe, visit Blythe, I'm just using that as an example. I'm pretty sure Blythe has one, right? Shout out to Blythe, California, right? I know I got some people on Facebook somewhere. If they're not on now, but they'll see it later. There's got to be a Visit Blythe or Discover Blythe. Okay. So anyway, number three. Let's see, I'm just getting kind of silly, but that's okay. Number three, be remembered. The goal isn't simply to be seen. It's to leave a lasting impression, share value, recognize others. That's one thing that Debbie did yesterday so well. She recognized other people that were instrumental in her journey, right? She mentioned a general manager, director of sales, that were instrumental in her getting to where she is now, right? That speaks volumes of that person, right? So you cannot tell me that Debbie in any room, people don't know who she is, okay? Because she makes it a point, because she's visible, okay? She's intentional. She's consistent. Every show that I go to, she's there. Okay. I'm going to one in San Francisco, a conference in San Francisco, not this weekend, but next weekend. She's going to be there. Okay. So I know she's consistent. Okay. And you have to be successful in this business, you have to be consistent. Okay. In order to be remembered, you have to be consistent. So there you go. And the fourth one, the last one. No, no, that is it. I'm talking. What am I saying? That's it. So visibility gets you noticed. In fact, let me put this up here. And this is the last thing. Visibility gets you noticed. Intentionality gives you purpose. Consistency builds trust. Being remembered creates opportunity. Can I say it any better than that? Can I drop the mic right now? This is the mic right here. And if I could drop it, where's the mic? If I could drop this thing, I would, and I'll be out of here. Okay. But yeah, so let's just make sure that we are being consistent as we can. We are being intentional. We're being visible. Okay. I preach it all the time. That's why I do this thing 5 days a week, right? One day is on air with Russell of Hotels. That's every Tuesday at 1 o'clock PST. And then Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, it's a daily check-in, right? I just want to check in to see what's going on. I normally will have a topic. I'm always going to highlight a hotel or a destination, which I did today, right? Because I think that's important too, to put out visibility, to let people know that, oh, okay, this hotel does exist. Oh, this is a great hotel. Do you know there's a certain percentage? I don't know what that percentage is, but there's a certain percentage of people that will check out this hotel, right? So if I was to click right here, boom, and they see the Langham, Pasadena, okay, there's a certain percentage of people that are going to look up the Langham Hotel. They may just Google it from their phone, like the Langham, Pasadena. Let me check that out. Boom. Oh, shoot, it is a nice hotel, right? Because they want to fact find. They want to make sure that Russell of Hotels know what the hell he's talking about, right? He's not just making up hotels as he goes along, right? No, these are real hotels. Yeah, and this is one I would recommend. I recommend a lot of hotels, right? But definitely the Langham, Pasadena. Now, remember, or let me tell you, it's an elevated experience. So with an elevated experience, going to come an elevated price. Okay, so I just want to let you know, but definitely will be worth your money. Okay, I'm gonna throw that out there. All right, so yeah, so once again, shout out to Miss Debbie Vail. Thank you so much for coming on. I just got an email from her. Let me see. In fact, you know what? How much time do I have? I've been on here 33 minutes. Let's see. Let me just see. Something popped up. Something popped up. And let me see. Debbie Vail. I shared a link on social. Interesting watching. I hope this gets you more foot traffic on the pages for that. My friend Jackie is on downtown. Do-do-do-do-do. Okay. Jackie Vargas. I know Jackie Vargas. Okay. Okay. So yeah, so she introduced someone to me. See, that's what I'm talking about, right? That's what I'm talking about. So she wanted to thank. Okay, can I read this, Debbie? I don't know if you knew I was going to read this on air, but this was and this is what I love, right? I mean, I like sharing things that people send me. In fact, let me get to the last page here. That way, I don't have to. And let me hide that. Boom. And any questions at all, any emails, just go ahead and click on here, right here. That's my QR code. Any information that you need on me, my email, my website, all that stuff, just click on that and you'll get it there. And my company is Russell of Hotels, Russell of Hotels. And I'm Russell of Hotels. So there you go. It says, Russell, I truly enjoyed our chat yesterday. I look forward to the next one. Me too, right? I'm already thinking about it. I've shared the link on my socials and forwarded to some folks who might be interested in watching. I hope you get more foot traffic on your pages from that. I have, right? Because she made it a point to, like I said, share on her socials with her friends or with her audience, right? And that's what it's all about, right? That's what you want. My friend Jackie V is now with the Omni in downtown LA. I love that hotel, the Omni downtown LA. Her information is down below. If you're interested in working with her, I can send her an email intro. See, that's what I'm talking about, right? Why not do that and then get introduced to people that you didn't know? And I'm not sure if I know Jackie Vargas. The name sounds familiar, but I'm definitely familiar with the hotel. So shout out to Jackie Vargas. Congratulations on your new role as national sales manager at the Omni downtown LA. And yes, I always need a new contact at any hotel, right? In fact, the Omni back in the day was my favorite hotel. I haven't been there in a while. I got to go and check it out, but it was always been one of my favorite hotels downtown LA. And now I have a contact there. So there you go. So thank you. Shout out to Debbie Vail again, right, for doing what you do. So yeah, so I like the way Debbie not only elevates herself and her brand, but she elevates other people around her. That's the key to success. Okay. It's not about you, it's about other people. I love that. So anyway, that is it. You guys have a great day. Let me just make sure. Let me check Instagram, see if there's any other comments. I see King of Keno. He's out there in the A or Atlanta. Shout out to him. How are you doing, Mr. King of Keno? When do you come back to LA so we can go have some more Ethiopian food? So anyway, and it's your time to buy. So anyway, that is it. You guys have a great day. I've been on here now, 36 minutes? That's a good time to get out. So anyway, that is it. Thank you guys so much for joining. This is a daily check-in with Russell of Hotels. Remember, this is Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So tomorrow is Thursday. I'll be doing it again. So until then, you guys have a great day. Have a good evening. Stay safe. And as always, peace.